Good morning, traders. It's E from MarketWizards.com, and it's Saturday morning, about 20 after 10, 27th of August, 2022. Reminding traders to use risk capital you can afford to lose. All right, let's take a minute. I'm trying to do a quickie video to help a few of my students understand some of the things that we were looking at yesterday. And let's take a quick peek at a couple of the charts. We always try to start with a blank slate. You'll see things in patterns and in pictures without a lot of trend lines and distracting elements on it. So one of the charts I always keep a look at is something just like a blank chart, and then I can see things like perhaps head and shoulders tops, and when we violate certain areas like this a third time through trade here, that 12-8 area, which opens the door then to territory that really had before been a third time through trade. You can see it right in here. Third time through, popped up, up, and then we reversed middle of August and come back. And obviously, next theoretical support is going to be the bottom of this bar right here, and so on. And we're going to take it step by step. But the blank charts really do help, in my opinion. Here's a yearly chart. And one of the things I'm looking at this chart, what I call the funnel, and we can see the blue line and the magenta line were opposing each other. And that's a pretty powerful battle that needs to be decided decisively by one side or the other. And we can see obviously that so far that our longer term average, our rain line, has held us down. We popped up above these couple of highs here, and then we really got some traction. And until yesterday, you really couldn't tell because we're fighting this 13,129 line that I've talked about, which is right near the major pivot, 13,125. So yesterday was a decisive win for the Bears, obviously. And in hindsight, it's always easy to see that, but in truthfulness, when you're trading, that hard right edge will get you if you're not disciplined with your capital. So on a day like yesterday, you don't fight it. Once it breaks down and keeps on going, it was suicidal to try to buy against that strong trend, in my opinion. We're going to be watching, obviously, this 442 looms large as the next support area basis, this spread. And we've come down 8 and we've come back 4. And now we're coming back 2. And so I call that the 8 and the 4 and the 2 battle right now. And it's a convenient way to look at that. And then we've got to see where we stall and bounce back, because obviously we could do an inverted head and shoulders. The jury's still out as to the directional play, but it's a range type trade. Here's the swing from the lows, right? Back in June, and so I've got this calibrated now to capture that swing range, and you can see why yesterday this area I thought was very important to break back underneath, that 13,072. Once we got under that, we still had to take out these lows in here at the 12/8. But once we do, then that was one of the reasons I'd call that target. We're looking for 12,738, which would be a 40 back, right? Up 8, and then coming back into the 40% pullback, and the 50 back is 12,404 on this measure. So that's an important chart for me, and we're going to be keeping an eye as we pull back into the middle, and that will resolve probably this week. There's a 5-minute Globex chart, and that yellow box I've highlighted to show that's really the treacherous time, in my opinion, yesterday, where these swings were very volatile around the news. We knew it would be. Patient traders who did nothing and just said, I'm not even going to try to do anything. Once we break down that range, we don't know how far it's going to go, but we do know that the trend was starting to go down. And this is the umbrella trade. All of the moving averages are below that magenta line. And so we can see that is a very powerful trade that I learned a long time ago from a great trader. That's the Globex chart. Let's look at the next chart, which is the 5-minute RTH, regular trading hours. And the fellow that I learned this one from was Oliver Velez. What a great trader. And he calls this the picture of power. And it can either be on the upside or the downside, but it's clearly a trend. Well, once we got this head of steam going yesterday, there was no indication at all that there was anything of a significant buy. And we stalled at that power pivot, which had been my support. We chopped around it, and then at lunchtime it finally broke down again and just never looked back. So great trade. Interesting story with Oliver Velez too. I saw him at a convention back in '05 in at the Omni in New Haven. And there was 500 people in the room next to the one he was presenting in, and that was a Donald Trump real estate seminar. I was a real estate broker at the time, and I said to my wife, "Well, let's go see Oliver Velez. I'm interested in learning more about stocks." And we went in the room, and he was next door to Trump's organization. There was 5 people there. My wife and I were 2 of them. But he put on such a great show, and he treated us like there were 500 people in the room. I'll never forget it. Shook his hand after it, told him I really appreciated his treating us with such respect, and he slapped my hand, gave me a power handshake, and I never forgot the man. What a great trader. So I did pick up his book, Master Traders. It's in my library, got a lot of books, but that's one of my favorites. So check him out. I really like him, and really taught a great lesson. And this is one of the trades, if you learn nothing else, if you learn this trade and we get into a bear market, this is the picture of power will make you money, believe me. One of the systems that I like to use, Murray Math system, actually has calibrations for the different levels, and you have to earn the right to go from one level to the next. And you can understand that 12.5 pivot that I talked about earlier. That was the directional pivot right here between the gray and the blue area. That is the determining location typically for whether you're going to be going back up or coming down. And once you break it and break it decisively, then you're looking step by step. And you can see the numbers that I'd called out yesterday. That 734, why that was important, the 656. And we started at the beginning of the day with obviously that 203 area. And then the biggie is 125, 13125. And once we lost that box and it took out the 46 and then had to get through that 6875. But once we break that and penetrate, I'm looking for this to go to that test at 12.8 and chop around there and make a decision in the pipe. That's called the pipe in there. So that's very important to our methodology. And that's how I try to put all of these ideas together. So here's the 5. Here's a 1-minute chart. Here's a 3. You can see that the 1s and the 3s and the 5s, they never, ever, once we resolve the rain line, It never gave the opportunity for the bulls to get their head above water. And admittedly, yesterday is an outlier day. We don't get this type of day often, but this is one way that you can keep yourself in the game playing with the trend when we do get these outlier type days. There's a 10-minute chart. And look at how these had to get resolvable. And then once we come out, there's no turning back. 15. Bump into the rain line, cannot get above it. We take out the blue line, and this is my typical power chart, a 15-minute chart. Here's a 30. You can see we're way ahead of ourselves all day long. Very unusual. And a lot of times we'll step out of the trade thinking we're going too far, too fast. And then you see it keep on going and you jump back in, take the heat for a few minutes, and there you go. Anyways, that's the type of trading that we look for. We live to find these type of days. And as long as we can adhere to the idea of taking our stop outs, we had one little trade at lunchtime that bounced, and we said, let's use this 812 to 820 area as resistance, see what happens. We got back under it, and that never looked back. And by the end of the day, anybody that's trading, good for you if you get that last part here. I like to be done by quarter to 4, but some traders want to hang on and do their swing trades and whatever. But it kind of gets crazy at the end of the day. And normally, my suggestion is step out and relax and don't worry about the last, 20 points, 10 points, whatever it turns out. Big yesterday, but that's not normal. So I hope this idea of trading with a purpose makes sense for you. You have to treat your capital as your lifeblood of this business. Without capital, you can do nothing other than watch everybody play the game. So respect your capital, respect your ability to learn this game. Thanks for listening. And if I can help you at all with your trading, get in touch. All right. Best of luck and have a wonderful weekend, everybody.